All right, y'all. We back. For the Culture, presented by the Craft Factory, is back in full effect. A little different this time. Of course, we all had plans to be in person, give y'all the best quality, all this great stuff. But of course, we had a pandemic, had to come through and wipe out all of our plans and whatnot. But it's okay. We're here. We're back, live in full effect. We got some usual suspects, but some new buddies ready to take on some things. Of course, we got Osahan himself in the building. You can't see his shoes this time. Usually I make a comment on the shoes.
I got you right now. We got the four thumbs on today.
Ooh, okay. I like those. Classics. Abraham, our new suspect in the building. He's here from the Craft Factory. Always a pleasure. And then we got LJ, aka my Wi-Fi is trash, in the building.
McDonald's Wi-Fi.
And she's hiding, but it's okay. LJ, what's going on with you?
That's good. That's good.
That's good.
Okay, I see how this is going to go today. All right. All right, so we're just going to jump right into it. Let's see what happened this week. Well, first off, how are we doing? It's been a minute. How are we doing, guys and gals?
We blessed. We balling. Can't really complain from my end. It's been a good week. It's been a good I guess a month or so of quarantine so far. I've been a lot productive. I started writing again, and been moving along with that. So expect a novel coming out 2021.
Ooh, novel. What genre?
Fantasy. Sci-fi-esque. More geared towards the adults, but not like in that type of way. It's just
fantasy.
Wait, what?
I just don't want to introduce trauma and grief to young adults, so don't put.
Wait, but you are introducing trauma and grief, right?
But not to young adults. Above that, but not in the adult like, let's go to the boom boom room type stuff. Like not like that. Just
got it.
Oh, so only fantasy. Only fantasy genre.
The only fans. What LJ? The only fans.
We are going to discuss that after the book comes out to help fund the support of the book. We'll talk about that later today.
Well, create your account and you got it. I'm sure you get like five fans. I've been good. You can't travel as much. I'm a travel person, but of course with everything shut down, you can't really do too much out here in these streets. I've been in the house, chilling, not really doing too much, but doing just enough. It's been
since the last time we recorded an episode of For the Culture. You actually had your son.
I did have my son. I did. He is about to be 3 months, looking like both of us. He's a joy though. He's a joy. I'm grateful. I'm blessed. He likes to sleep, eat, and that's pretty much all he can do right now. But he's starting to be aware of some things. He's moving around. He's noticing his hands a lot. He got the prayer hands already in full effect. So either I don't know if he's praying sometimes or pressing us. So, we'll yet to figure that out. But he's definitely living up to the nicknames y'all gave him. So I don't know if you heard y'all, but he's definitely
Debo, Joel.
Debo he's in full effect.
Hey, turn up.
He's in full effect. Osan, man, what's going on with you?
Wow.
Been a minute.
Yeah. Quarantine life. I mean, this is week 8, I think, for me. So yeah, the days are all blending together, and I am expecting.
What?
So
if I had a DJ noise, I'm pressing it right now. There it is. I'm pressing it. Osan having his first child. I'm super excited for him. Create that diaper wall, man. I know from experience. I can say this from experience. Create the diaper wall. You would not be shamed. Trust me. LJ, Miss Wi-Fi in living. Well, not living color because I see just a default picture, but Miss Wi-Fi herself. How you living?
I'm good. Good. It's Cinco de Mayo, Taco Tuesday. We're
Taco
getting killed by
Tuesday.
Corona, but we good out here.
You know
We
what
good
I'm
out
saying?
here.
Hey, you know what? I'm gonna order some tacos for dinner then. Say less, say less.
Okay, but you not for all right for just for you. Got it.
Listen,
I mean, I didn't know I was supposed to be extending an invite. You know, I was thinking about what I'm having for dinner.
Where's this mic? No, it's fine. It's no, it's all good though. But I know you in Texas right now, right, LJ?
Yeah, I'm out here in Texas.
In what parts, to be exact?
I'm in West Texas, San Angelo.
San
Angelo, Texas. Y'all have probably never heard of it. We got tumbleweeds, tornadoes, and 105-degree weather today.
Last time I went to Plano, okay, and I heard that's like the OC of Texas.
Nah, I can't do it. I'm cool.
Yeah, Plano's trash.
I'm cool. Sound like I'm saying Pluto. Pluto. I ain't never been.
I heard Plano. I don't know where Pluto came from.
I still hear Pluto for some reason. I don't know. Anyways,
just
a lot of stuff.
A
lot of stuff to discuss this weekend. A lot of stuff has transpired though since we've been absent. You know, sports have been canceled all across the board. Sports fans are depressed. We are kind of looking like we've been in quarantine. And, you know, it's a lot going on, but we'll just jump right into it. The Last Dance premiered early based off of fans' requests. It was supposed to premiere in April, if I stand corrected, and it got moved up because, hey, we're trapped in the house. And, you know what I'm saying? People was literally tagging ESPN on outlets like, yo, bump them up. We need it now. We have nothing else better to do. Sure enough, they did. And currently, at the time of this recording, we're like on what? Episode 6? No, 7. We're about to be on 7. About to be on 7. And man, what y'all think? I'll refrain from my views, but what y'all think of it so far?
Just one correction. It premiered in April. Was supposed to premiere on Father's Day, so they bumped this up 2 whole months.
Yeah, I mean, it made the most sense too, like you said, because of the staying in at home, and they were doing numbers. Of course, everybody was tuned in. It's the best they can get to live sports as close as possible. Just reliving some Jordan nostalgia, especially stuff that we already knew, but it's more so the stuff that we learned kind of for the first time, such as Dennis Rodman's escapades. That has been really fun to learn about, because we always knew Dennis was a wild dude. Like, we knew he was up to, like, whatever, but he was wild in Vegas. I mean, pardon my English, but the bodies he had on him in terms of Carmen Electra, Tony Braxton, it's just, this boy was wilding out. And this was all in season.
Tony Braxton? He got Tony Braxton?
You didn't see that?
Yeah.
No.
Birdman made her come out and recant that they even did anything. She came out and said, I know pictures have been taken with me and Dennis. I just like them, but we never had a relationship like that.
Oh, I know he lying. I know she lying.
Yeah.
For sure.
Wow. I must have missed a chunk on that. I knew he had a body count, but Tony? It makes sense though, but still. I'm surprised I heard the name. You said what?
Vivica?
Oh yeah, Vivica.
Vivica, I knew. Vivica.
I blame Madonna for all of this, though. This is all Madonna. When you watch the last,
Madonna turned him out.
Yeah, that convo. Madonna was like, "Do what you want, do what makes you feel good," and he was like, "Well, I'm gonna do you first, and then after that, I'll aboard the Rodman train." And that's the rest is history.
Thank you for the inspiration, and I'm out.
It's been a great combination of sports and just like drama. The documentary has been, so it's been very enjoyable. It's appealed to basically everyone's taste. Like, even those who aren't into sports like that, it's still some like Kardashian-esque type stuff that they usually tune into that they can find with this. So the documentary's been great. It's been fire. Enjoyed it.
Y'all like Tony Kukoc being a victim in the homicide that Jordan and Pippen commenced on him. I feel bad for him. I didn't really know that, like, how that happened, but I feel bad for him. Like, his career really didn't, like, it wasn't his fault per se.
But stuff happens. You know,
yeah, it's but it's one of those things where he got set up. You know, he was the punching bag because of this. You know, midget Jerry Krause. Jerry Krause in here disrespected. You know, Mike and Scotty. And they said, hey, from what we see, you are the picture, the image, or the personification of this disrespect. So you're about to get it, not knowing. And of course, they didn't know that. They didn't know what Tony's heart and mind was at in the whole situation. And much respect to Tony Kukoc, because I knew the story. I'd watched the replays, you know, growing up of you know, Tony getting the no Vaseline treatment from Mike and Scotty in that first game. But kudos to Tony Kukoc for fighting back in that final. And, you know, showing that he had heart. You know, what is Stacey saying in the wood? Little homie got heart. You know what I'm saying? So,
right?
Yeah, he did his thing.
He hit 16 points in that second game.
They clamped him down. Oh my God. For the fact that Mike said in the locker room, me and Scotty got him. Didn't even leave it up to chance to anybody else. Me and Scotty got this dude. This is your future teammate. And you gonna put him through the ringer like that.
Hey, welcome to the league.
That's it. Yeah, it was a welcome to the league little fella. I mean, big fella.
Just that it was a little bit more personal than most, given like we always knew that Jordan didn't like Krause, but we didn't know how far that level of disdain was. Like this man was clowning him every chance he could.
The disrespect.
Jordan did not like is not enough. It's borderline hatred. There was a real hatred.
When Krause asked for a cigar after they won that first title, he asked Mike for a cigar. Mike said, "Nah, man, it's gonna stunt your growth." I was crying.
I was like even in the moment of celebration like this,
he do got a little Rumpelstiltskin effect on there. He do got a little Rumpelstiltskin effect over there.
Of course,
it was bad. Do you guys feel that this makes LeBron look worse or better?
I think what this does is, now for those, like for me, watching this documentary has brought back so many memories of my childhood. Like I still remember, for example, after Jordan hit that jumper in '98 over Brian Russell after the shove, my butt went outside in my little Adidas slides, and my neighbor was outside playing basketball. My little neighbor next door, I'm not gonna name him. I'm gonna name him Little Bobby. Okay, I'm not gonna lie, the boy was white trash. And for the next hours and change, I repeated that same crossover time and time again to make sure that jumper went down each time. And I had Bobby mixed up. But I think what this does is, for those of us who didn't grow up in the Jordan era, for those of us who don't remember, have very low recollection of that, for those of you out there who do, I think this gives greater context to why people like myself, those who are 30 plus, have the utmost respect and reverence for someone like a Mike. Because if you didn't watch it and you didn't see it, you won't believe it. You'll think that people like us are gassing up Mike and are saying, and I don't want to say disdain for LeBron, but I think when we see a LeBron and we say, yeah, LeBron's cool. Yeah, he's the best player of his generation, but he's not touching Mike. Like, I hope this really gives people that understanding, and this newer generation that understanding of why. Like, I remember having conversations with youngins, even before this documentary came out, and the disrespect they had towards Mike. Oh, Mike was just a slasher. Mike didn't do much. Like, Mike didn't do
slasher. Wow.
Yes, like, oh, I've watched. I said, have you guys actually watched like replays and game tape of this dude? Yeah, like all he was a slasher.
We've been watching different videos.
What this dude Mike was doing? Come on, man.
Mid-range game was on elite.
Defensively,
like 9-time all-team, all NBA first defense. Now, an aside, this is my side rant on this. I hate when I see the comparison charts when they put Kobe and Jordan up. They always mention Jordan's defensive accolades. They never mention Kobe's. Kobe was 9-time All-NBA first-team defense and three All-NBA second-team defense. He has the second most All-NBA defensive selections all time behind Tim Duncan, and they don't never show him his respect. But that's just me on my soapbox. But yeah,
that's a whole different discussion. But no, I agree with you. In terms of how this relates to Braun, for me, I was born early in the Jordan era of basketball, like when he started winning. And so growing up, you know, I'm not old enough to really say like, hey, I was all up in that, but I know that was the talk of everybody who, and my dad, he loved basketball. I mean, we're Nigerian, so Hakeem was already top tier in the house. Then you have Jordan, who's just venerated by everyone. Doesn't matter where you're from, who you are. So being able to witness Kobe's reign and then really the LeBron reign, for me, what this says is just that when it's all said and done, LeBron's story is going to be quite the watch. Mainly because when it comes to Bron and everything we learn about him, there's not much out off the court drama to really dive into like there was with Jordan and his gambling addiction and whatnot. But the amount of on-court drama, the constant comparisons to Jordan, the constant comparison of accolades to each other, that's going to make for some great TV. And it's going to get a lot of, like, it's funny though, because what this documentary did for people who hate Bron, it further legitimized their hatred for Bron and further legitimized why MJ is the GOAT in their eyes and LeBron doesn't even compare. Just because what we're learning of what some people may be learning for the first time about Jordan is the fact that, he really was a killer. Like, he was someone who didn't really give a damn. And it's crazy too, because on Twitter, I saw that Trey Young, he tweeted out, he was like, he had no clue that this was what Jordan was about. And it's crazy because he's what, like 21, maybe 20? He's a young kid. But it just shows you that he's part of the generation that like didn't really know of Jordan like that. Like, yes, they know his name, they know Space Jam, they know the shoes, but they never actually really took the time to dive into his play and really learn what he was as an athlete. And what this documentary did open up their eyes. So you have people who mostly don't look to MJ as a GOAT for reasons when it's based off the eye test. They more look to Kobe or LeBron as their GOAT. They're now realizing like, MJ was really that dude. Like, it wasn't all gas. Yeah. So it's quite interesting for sure. When I mention those guys.
I feel like he's definitely controlling the narrative though. Like, to this whole.
I mean, all documentaries do that.
He was sitting on the footage. Like,
all documentaries do that. No, for example, Craig Hodges hasn't even been in the documentary yet, and I highly doubt he will be. And he was one of the, before you had a Steve Kerr or John Paxson, like Craig Hodges was the one with the money stroke on that squad. So of course he's controlling the narrative. And in one way it's good because it helps make up for some of the sins that we've kind of looked at Mike and said, dude, you messed up for that. Like the whole thing with politics, North Carolina, for him to come out and say, hey, like, yeah, I messed up on that. And I could probably own up to that. We haven't heard Mike ever say that. All this time, Mike has been mute on that. So in one way, it's good, but on the other hand, you have people like a Craig Hodges who aren't on there. You have people like a Luke Longley who's not going to be in the documentary. So yeah, there's positives and negatives to him controlling the narrative.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, 2K14, my team, I like playing with Luke Longley. That bronze card, he was a bronze card in my team, but that boy was solid in the paint though.
We forget.
Yeah, he better be solid. Man, all I remember was him being on that 73 rating, and it's like, bro, what are you doing? Like, you're just out there. Like, what's going on? So, yeah, episode 7 is premiering this Sunday. Diving deeper, they're starting to get more now into that last hurrah, the playoffs, and they're comparing it, they're time traveling, if you will, to going back to that last year of that first three-peat where he retired. So the parallel that they're doing is actually really genius. Very, very genius how they did that. Of course, they're going to cover the retirement. I'm surprised they have not talked about his dad dying.
I think that's going to be episode 7 because remember, that happened right after he won that 3rd title and before he retired. And episode 6 left us on that cliffhanger of Mike saying, I wasn't physically exhausted. I was mentally wiped out. And so you combine being mentally wiped out to you add to that the fire of you losing your dad, who was someone who, granted, you fought for your dad's love and affection your entire life, and then now you're in a space where that person dies. Of course, it's easy to see why Mike went into the space that he went into.
Yeah, so they definitely should be covering that in, because while he has been controlling the narrative, they haven't really like skipped out on some of the things that have been discussed, such as, you know, the after parties, the recreational use of certain narcotics. So
traveling cocaine circuits.
So I definitely know that when we discuss the episode of the dad, it won't be something like in passing, like, oh, you know, this happened. They're most likely going to dive into it, because, you know, everybody has a certain stance on the whole Jordan and his dad and how it related to basketball and the repercussions of Jordan's actions. But I feel like now we actually get a chance, even though it's controlled by Mike, we actually get a chance to really look at, hopefully we get a chance to really look at what that relationship was, what that dynamic was, what it really meant before he passed and after he passed.
Yeah. Yeah. You know, and shout outs to those who are, to that production crew, of course. They dived into the drugs. They talked about the gambling. They talked about that night, him going to the casino the night before the game. They, you know, the golf course. They all went to the golf course. Dennis Rodman went to Hooters that day on the day off before, you know, winding down the season.
Yep.
So credit the crew for really, you know, capturing that footage. And, you know, oh boy, did you realize his security guard looked like oh boy from Martin?
Yeah.
The white guy with the white hair. I was like, yo, this is kind of creepy. But shout out to the Last Dance, man. They're really doing their thing. In other news, the States is reopening, or trying to. Trump came out and was like, yo, we're losing money. Let's get these people back on the road. And he even said, in a quote, lives may be lost, but we need to get our country back. Guys, is this the rapture? What's happening here?
There's so many different sides to it, and when I approach such a topic, I try to keep in mind those different stances, because each one has a legitimate leg to stand on. So my own stance on it is that I understand the desire to open up the country. You know, this is something that people have never experienced before, not in America. You know, this is stuff that is more common with countries that are going through martial law because of political disputes, military disputes, whatnot. But for something like this to be happening in America, where people legitimately, like, how many people signed up for unemployment in the past month?
About on record, it's going to be
30 now.
But up to like 19.
Up to 19. There's so many people that sign up for unemployment, and so many people don't have jobs or anything to do, that I understand the desire to reopen the country. I totally do. I get it. You don't want to be cooped up in the house all day. You don't either by yourself, with your pets. I mean, unfortunately, with your family, your kids. So I understand the need to open up, but at the same time, this is not a common occurrence. This isn't something that we can just brush off, especially with the deaths that have been occurring. Like, yes, at some point, the deaths are going to plateau because no one's going out. People can't die if they're not going out and continuing the cycle of infection of infecting others. But just because it finally plateaued doesn't mean like, hey, we own it. No, that's just common sense finally taking hold. What this means, though, is that, and this is where I disagree with Trump and other political figures, is that let's have as much of our precautions readily available, such as testing, because testing was not available widespread to everyone. You know, people could only get tested if they were severely showing symptoms. And by that point, it's usually too late. So we need to make sure we have enough testing, because once we open the country back up, or certain parts, of course, and everybody has said this, everybody on TV has said this, we expect a resurgence in infected cases. So they know that it's coming. But when you're not prepared for that, then why risk it? Just so you can make some money that hopefully you get to see yourself live through another 10, 15, 20, 40 years. But if you open up the country, no testing in the area that you're living, you go to work, you get sick, you go through it, God forbid you pass away. Was it all worth it for that week of freedom? For that week of
phase one is very peculiar, so that means we ain't ready. So whatever phase one looks like, that's what they're doing. But I think what's the scary thing that I've heard so far is, well, it's not scary, but it's just really odd that there are jobs right now emailing their coworkers that they let go or the employees that are not working and saying, "Hey, you ready to come back to work?" And these people are looking like, "Oh, not I. I'm not coming back." One, because of course they don't want to get sick, but two, these unemployment checks they're getting, they ain't bad. Like they're not bad, and they raised it. And so it's something that, people are really looking like, nah, we not, I'm cool. Like if I gotta find another job, I'm fine, but I'm not leaving right now. So, it's gonna fluctuate and people think that, money's gonna come back and well, not people, but politicians, they think the money's gonna just resurge and everything. Everybody's going back to work. People are real rebellious right now. They're like, nope, I'm not leaving my house.
See, that's the different thing. People got to keep in mind that we're going to have a recession following lockdown.
We're already
inevitable. After all the money that's been pumped in, that's been taken out, loaned, borrowed, everything, we are due for a recession. So when a recession comes, you can't behave as if like, oh yeah, everything's going to go back to normal. No.
Yeah.
Some people remember the 2008 recession, especially when it came to real estate market. People's pockets were hurt, and it wasn't as widely felt. Because I remember when I was in 2008, it didn't seem to affect me and my family as much. I didn't really get to notice it at that time, but I also was at a younger age. But now that I'm actually an adult who pays bills and whatnot, who has such responsibilities, I can already feel like, yo, once lockdown is over, this stuff is going to hurt financially. It's not going to be quick like that. And it's another thing for me too. It's just like, I look at the job industry, and over the last month or so, I've been paying attention to the certain industries that have taken care of their employees, and those who kind of been like, sayonara, like good luck. And it resonates because for me, some of the job I work in the food industry, we were one of the first to get axed, because, people can't gather at restaurants like that. Now that post lockdown, I'm looking and I'm saying, like, to be honest, I don't see how such an industry continues to thrive like that for the first couple months after lockdown. I understand the different phases, but how do you regulate people keeping their distance when they work in the kitchen? You can't just stand 6 feet away from the other person when the stations are not even 6 feet apart. Stuff like that. Proper hygiene. Like people who work in restaurants, they tell you that they use proper hygiene, but in reality, like some people use proper hygiene, some people don't. So for me, it's just a matter of, job switch. Switches is coming in some areas.
No, it's coming big time. I don't, we ain't nobody leaving the house right now. We chilling. Unless people are just that stupid and they just want to risk it all and be like, yo, I need to get out the house. I mean, do you? But it's too early for this. They're rushing it. They want people to, make money so they can get their money, and it ain't worth it. Like the humane common sense has to kick in. Like these are human beings that you're trying to, tell them to risk their lives over something that still has not been explained well. So it's just it sucks. A lot of stuff has stopped, but I mean, music has not stopped, and I know. A lot of music has been dropping. People are saying, hey, now's the time. Some folks are holding off on some albums. Some folks are like, bump it. We dropping fire. So Drake, of course, came out with, I won't even call it an album. It's just files. He came out with some files. Let's just call it files. And he came out with that. It had Tuesday Slide on there. A lot of people thought it was going to be on the upcoming project dropping in the summer, but it's not. So it's on this album or these files, excuse me. So that means that he must be coming with some pure heat or something in the summer, because Tuesday Slide was a monster of a hit. And I got a lot of flack, especially from you two, for on the Drake train. Here's why I say Drake doesn't miss. I made a comment on my social media and I said Drake doesn't miss. And I actually got a lot of rebuttal, like, what do you mean he don't miss? It was work, it was trash. Here's why I said that. Tuesday Slide was a smart move. Was it a whack track? It sure was. But it was a smart move because he capitalized on the market. What's popping right now? TikTok. So what do? You create a song, you create a dance that can be trendy on TikTok. And that's exactly what he did. He didn't make no full length lyrical song for people to have to sit down and memorize. They're already in-house stuck. So Drake may not be, I'll say this, he's not one of the dopest lyricists in the game, but he's one of the smartest artists in the game, if not ever. It's debatable, but ever, because he's able to market his songs well. He knows when to drop them. He knows when to drop albums. He doesn't miss. He don't miss. So I find it interesting that some folks are just like, Drake isn't it. I'm like, I can see why, So what do you guys think of these Drake files he dropped?
So here's my take on Drake.
Uh-oh. The slow response.
I think Drake was built for this era. An era in which it is not necessarily about quality. And I would even say it's necessarily about quantity either. It is, can you catch the wave and capitalize on the wave? Very few people, we don't even pay homage or respect to the ones who actually made the wave. Case in point, this Michael Jordan documentary is a case in point of that. People, Abraham, you referenced Trae Young. This current generation of NBA players, they know Michael for the cultural impact that he had. They don't know Michael for the actual gameplay impact that he had. The fact that, for them, Kobe was their Michael Jordan. Well, have you guys actually checked out who Michael Jordan is? And so I think with Drake, for example, Drake isn't the first one to be singing and rapping in the same stuff. Andre 3000 was. But if you ask, hey, yo, like, what you know about Andre 3 Stacks or about Outkast? Oh, they're trash. They're whack.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Like, they're the ones who paved the way. Was it LL Cool J? We were just talking about this yesterday. Just put out and said that, he's the one who made it okay for someone like Drake to rap about the stuff that he raps about when it comes to females and stuff like that. So we are in a space where I think someone like Drake has just capitalized on the opportunity. By all means, he is not lyrically, he's not that dude. Tuesday Slide is just evidence of that. He knows his audience and he's going to cater to them. I equate it to I don't know if any of you watch the show Black AF by Kenya Barris, the creator of what was it? Black.
I'm trying to get into it. I'm trying hard.
So here's the thing. Cecil. Don't take it too seriously.
It's a struggle. So it is hard. I feel like I'm working out. Like, I'm trying hard to really get into this, and it's like, all right, let me just do one more set.
It's intentionally ignorant. Like, intentionally. And I think people are taking it too seriously, as if him and, Rashida Jones and their family in the show have to be like in this, Black power, everything family and spitting out Black history facts every other episode. Now they have, moments where they do that, but the show is loosely based on his family. Like, he actually has 6 kids in real life. You know what I mean? But watching that show though, there's an episode in there. I want to say it's episode like 5. And in the episode, he gets invited to watch a special premiere of this film, and he walks out and he's like, this film is trash. Like, it's him, his daughter, his second oldest daughter, and his wife. His second oldest daughter is the one who's doing this documentary that the show's based on. And so him and her are looking at each other the whole movie like, this movie's trash. And everyone else in the theater is dying. So the whole episode revolves around him And his daughter, like, why do you guys not see this stuff is trash? And so he goes and has a conversation with Tyler Perry. And Tyler Perry is like, listen, I know my audience. I know what they like. And I'm just going to cater to that. Do I know that some of this stuff is ignorant and stupid as heck? Absolutely. But I speak a language that my audience understands. I'm speaking their language. I don't have to be super high, intellectual or anything like that. I'm just speaking their language. And that's exactly what Drake does. Drake knows his audience. Drake knows what language they speak. And so he's going to speak that language. That's why if you watch what people say about Drake, even cats that I know who I'm like, really? Like Drake though? And man, like I don't normally F with Drake. But when he said X, Y, and Z, I felt that.
Right.
He posted language. He don't speak my language. I'll tell you 100% he don't speak my language. He doesn't. Drake probably once every like 20 Drake songs, I'll be like, oh, that's cool. But Drake, I get what you're saying, Cecil, about Drake doesn't miss because he speaks the exact language that his people need to hear. But if there's stuff that I actually need to listen to and something I actually want to put on where I'm like, yeah, that's going to speak to me, it ain't Drake, bro. I'll definitely put on some Andre 3 Stacks. There's a lot of artists I put on before Drake.
No, I agree. I agree with you. I definitely agree that the sense he doesn't miss for the same reason you guys both said, because he has become a master at capitalizing on opportunity, for sure. He has. And he has built himself enough of a fan base where it doesn't matter how strong or how weak that opportunity is, it's going to get treated as if like it's the hottest thing out. So when those tapes dropped, everybody was like, yo, this is the hottest thing out. And if people started to listen and were like, yo, it's still the hottest thing out. And I'm over here like,
right.
But what I will say about Drake though, and I have to give him props for this, is that through his projects, I've been able to be put onto other acts, such as when Take Care, the album dropped. Crew Love, that was my first time ever hearing The Weeknd. And so I was just like, yo, this Weeknd cat is dope. So then I go look up The Weeknd and I'm listening to Trilogy and all of that. And I'm like, yo, this cat is fire. So because of Drake that I got into The Weeknd. It's because of Drake on Versace Remix that I got into Migos. It's because of Drake on this recent tape that this dude, Fivio Foreign, I'm like, yo, who is this guy? And I'm listening to the song Waggy, and I'm like, hey, this song slaps. Like, all right. Someone on Twitter was like, yo, he raps in bullet points. I'm like, he does, but I don't care because this joint slaps. Like,
bullet points.
Like when I want to listen to something like to get me like hype or just when I'm BSing, this is gonna be the dude I listen to. So I give Drake kudos for that for sure. Do I enjoy his current music like that? Nah. The last project I've listened to in full and with enjoyment was the Take Care album, to be honest. All his other projects since then, it's just it doesn't have replay value for me like that. Certain songs maybe when I'm feeling nostalgic, but overall, Take Care is the only album that I'll listen to front and back, no skips, and I enjoy each and every song.
Yeah. He's a quality artist, no doubt. Everybody has their own taste to Drake and all that, but he dropped the files. We'll see in the summer. Who else came out? JoJo came out with her first album since, a lot of you don't know this, but she's been in a huge little legal battle with a record label, and so it stopped her from producing music. I must say I have listened to that album 3 times. It's actually really good. Like it's amazing. She did some quality good music on there. She even got Tory Lanez on a joint. She got a few people actually on there. Really, really good album. I listened to it. Have you guys listened to it?
No, I haven't listened to JoJo in years.
It's pretty good.
She's cool. She's cool. Like what track was it? She what's his name? PJ Morton. Had her on some stuff, and I was like, oh yeah, JoJo still got that.
Yeah, she's very grown on this album. She's very, very grown. But it sounded good. It sounded good. She hasn't missed a step. She's I'll go on a limb and say, look, she's probably one of the better vocalists out here. Like people sleep on JoJo. Mm-hmm. She's one of the better vocalists out here. And if she was consistent with her music, if she didn't get into a legal battle, I can't imagine where would she be right now. I think that dispute, that little breakdown with her label, really cost her a lot of years that she's trying to, redeem. But she did well by doing with this album. What else came out?
Hold on. Jay-Z, you need to go rescue JoJo like you did for Meg Thee Stallion, okay? Because Meg Thee Stallion, you rescued her only for her to deliver us some fresh, hot, hefty bag garbage. Speaking of Meg Thee Stallion, okay?
Listen, you had dropped that album, but it definitely opened up the opportunity for this remix.
Come on,
to come through with one of the biggest artists you can work with,
And I think it was a good remix. Here's another discrepancy that we have with the whole Beyonce stuff. Look here.
What do you mean stuff?
I am not part of the Beehive. Let's just make that clear. I'm not part of the Beehive.
I have my Beehive meter on right now, also, and it's reaching near critical at this point.
I'm not. Look,
the fact that you use the word discrepancy lets me know you are in there.
I am not, and here's why. Here's my thing. I think people hate on Beyonce because of the amount of attention that she gets. I understand that. I do get that. But however, I'm not going to discredit her for the stuff that she creates. It is some really good stuff. There's been some songs that's like, okay, whatever, I can get messed with that. But when it comes to this remix specifically, people don't see her as a rapper. And I get that. She's not a rapper, but can she rap? Yes.
That's okay. Here's my and I think this sums up exactly the era that we live in. We live in an era where, because of social media, because of the universal quality of how things can get out and about, right? We live in an era of intense hype and I think an intense amount of gas. So people hype stuff up so much because so many people get access to it now. Like, think about it. One of the greatest rap albums I think I've ever heard, Illmatic for sure, right?
Mm-hmm.
Think about when that album dropped. That album is 25 years old now, I think.
Yikes.
25 years old. And people are just now really giving it its roses. Imagine what would have happened if Illmatic dropped in an era of social media. Imagine what happens if Reasonable Doubt, right? Reasonable Doubt, universally loved, if that drops in an era of social media. Even Kanye's Jesus is King album. If you guys want to check out the review we had on that, check it out. We did it when it dropped here on For the Culture. That album, I think, got more love than it could have or should have because it dropped in the era of social media. Because trust me, if College Dropout drops in the era of social media that we sit in now, that is universally known and loved as probably one of the top 3 greatest Kanye albums of all time, period, point blank. People wouldn't even put Jesus is King in the conversation. So I think because of the era that we live in with so much hype because of social media and people just gas stuff up. Before I listened to that Beyonce album, that Savage remix, I listened to it with a measure of skepticism because of the amount of hype and gas I heard. Oh man, coming from Cecil, first of all, oh man, as president of the beat.
I didn't hear it. I didn't hear it until
on this.
Maybe 4 hours later. I'm like, what's
the remix is better than the original. The remix is better than the original.
People had on his red "Make Beyonce Great Again" hat on, okay?
It is, but listen, I didn't really hear about it until maybe hours later, and I was on Twitter, and I'm like, yo, did Beyonce just drop something? Like, what's going on? And sure enough, I guess she did. So I'm like, oh, so that Meg Thee Stallion, Savage remix. Oh, all proceeds go to COVID-19. Oh, okay, cool. Let me check it out. And when I heard it, I'm like, oh, okay. I was impressed. I didn't know what she was going to do as LJ shakes her head and her Wi-Fi is going down. I didn't know. I didn't know she had that in her. And
you started saying "God Save the Queen." We heard you.
No. I didn't know that she would come with that. I thought lyrically, as a creative and even who's the artist themselves, I thought her bars was pretty decent. Now that doesn't.
You didn't know she was overrated?
You said what?
You didn't know she was overrated?
You had just enough Wi-Fi bars to say that, huh?
Oh!
I sure
did. And you know what? It was one shot that was worth it.
When they, right. Your musical ability
I don't think
just as good as my Wi-Fi.
I don't think she's overrated. I'm not on that train when it comes to, oh my God, everything Beehive and Beyonce's all world. I don't think she's all world. I think they're a far better vocalist than Beyonce for sure. But as far as her putting out quality stuff consistently when she does show up, she definitely has that. That's all. But as far as vocally and all that stuff, there are far better vocalists. Can she sing? For sure. But there's tiers to this.
It's interesting though, because I did see on Twitter that people were raving about Savage Remix. And again, I enjoyed it. I thought it was better than the original for what it was. But people were like, yo, Beyonce rapping is a whole mood. And it's like, this is not the first time we've seen her rap on a track.
Right.
But when we did on the last project, people had an issue with it. Like, yo, why is Beyonce rapping? Like, we don't want that. But all of a sudden, now everybody's like, yo, this shit is so fire. Like,
when you in the house all day, you
ain't got options, you know? I mean, it was funny to me, some of the stuff that people were tweeting. They were like, yo, Beyonce makes it known all the time that she's from Texas. And I'm like, I'm not sure, because I'm going to be honest, I'm not really a Beyonce fan. I'm not going to sit around and be like, yo, I feel like listening to Beyonce right now, so I'm going to go look up Beyonce. I'm not that type of person. If someone's like, yo, Beyonce dropped a project, I'm like, cool. Like the last album I've ever listened to, whole of Beyonce, I can't tell you because I've never gone through a whole album in a sitting before. She just doesn't do it for me. But at the same time, I respect her skill. I respect where she is on the scale, on the throne of the music industry. I understand it. She deserves to be there because she's worked. She's put in her roses. She's at the top. Who's really contesting her? Not really much. So I get it. But in terms of this remix, one, Meg Thee Stallion, it's only because Jay-Z saved you that you were able to get Beyonce on this track. Two, it was kind of expected. Two Houston gals, like, you know, we kind of knew that this would be coming at some point. Three, let's not forget that this dropped the same day as the remix with Nicki and Doja Cat. And I'm gonna be honest, I didn't even listen to that because my TL was full of Beyonce Savage remix, and I'm like, so what happened? All right, let me go listen to it. Oh, this shit slaps way better than the original. Okay, cool. And then people kept talking about Nicki and Doja Cat. I'm like, why are they being brought up with these other two? Are they on this remix too? At first, I thought it was a whole big remix with all four people. I'm like, yo, that's a big project. But no, it's the fact that Say So, I think, dropped as well, but no one was really talking about it as much because Beyonce came on here and decided to rap on the track, and that got everybody's attention. Whether you feel like she killed it or not, people were so focused because of the name.
It's the market, man. It's the market. I'll say that. Doja's song and Nicki's song was cool. I mean, it sounded the same as the original. Of course, they remixed Doja's song, and apparently Nicki rewrote or added, I should say, some bars towards the end of that day, I guess, to change up her verse. And then it was like, was it because, you know, Savage Remix came out and all this stuff? And of course, Nicki denied it. But I can't imagine Nicki and Beyonce beefing since of their history and seeing how their relationship has grown. So I don't see that. But what else? What else music? Well, Brandy dropped a song with Chance the Rapper, which I've heard. It was good. It was good. Brandy still got it, man. Brandy still can sing. Chance the Rapper, I don't know what's going on with him. I hope he finds his way back. I don't know what's his deal. I don't think he.
Go ahead, everyone who is capitalized on the era in which he is living, because Chance the Rapper is not good.
Ooh.
He's not. Overhyped, overrated. I mean, he's not good. And I think without that cosign, that Chicago cosign, Kanye cosign, he for sure is not getting any sort of play. So yeah, I think once again that's another one who, without an era of social media, because back before the era of social media, You better be bring the artistry. You better be rapping. Folks aren't doing that these days. They're just catering to whatever's going to get them some plays and some hits and some streams.
Yeah, Chance, when he first came out, it was more of like that comedic type of effect because he was, his material was silly, not silly in the sense of, it was silly. Talk about his exes and whatnot and doing it in like a funny, amusing, comical way. But then he started to mature his content as he started to gain more appeal. And I think that's where the disconnect happens because when he first came out, he was the type of dude that you listen to like, oh, you're going to get lifted a little bit and just laugh around. Kind of like how Lil Dicky is,
I like Lil Dicky.
Lil Dicky's phenomenal.
Lil Dicky is, but except Lil Dicky, I think, in my opinion, is just more skilled. I enjoy Lil Dicky a lot. I enjoy his music. I haven't watched his show yet, but people are raving about his show.
It's really good.
So Chance is, Chance, he definitely capitalized, and right now it's not really working out as well. His era has started to come to an end.
His last album did him dirty.
Yeah, he tweeted something about like, hey, I'm gonna come out with a project or something like that, and it got maybe 100 retweets.
He postponed it. He changed it. He changed his tune. He's about to go on tour. Actually, yeah, he's about to go on tour, and then he came out was like, yo, we want to make this the best quality tour, so we're gonna postpone. We'll cancel now, but that's honestly just saying, look, the album was whack. We know we probably won't get enough people to come to the show. So we're just going to bow out and call it a day, and we're going to make some better music.
I heard
that was that.
I heard LJ loves Chance the Rapper.
Oh, yeah, she does.
Yeah, right.
Do you?
Chance the Rapper. To me, Chance the Rapper is an opportunistic rapper. Like, he takes whatever's going on in the moment and tries to use that as leverage, and a lot of the time it don't work for him. So
I eat Drake, but it works out for Drake.
It worked out.
Yeah, because Drake's made a name for himself. You know what I mean? But Chance the Rapper's kind of all over the place. So you see him as either goofy or not goofy, and so like he's got to find a middle ground in order to get.
Goofy. I don't think he does well on features. Does anybody feel like he doesn't do that well on features when he gets features?
There was one feature on G Herbo's album, PTSD album that dropped a few months ago. It was Chance, G Herbo, and Juice WRLD. So this was after Juice WRLD passed.
Yeah,
and it was a good song. And I was talking to a Chicago cat, and he said that he liked the song up until Chance hopped on it. He felt Chance's verse was unnecessary. And so I listened to it a couple of times, and I said, no, I don't think Chance's verse was unnecessary because of the content in relation to the song and in relation to the whole album was spot on. It's just his delivery. It's just like, if you're not a fan of Chance, then his features aren't just going to do it for you. Like, it's not going to do it for you. There's no way around it. His features don't make you be like, yo, I want to listen to this dude. But because I've had this kind of like tolerance of Chance, I was like, no, this song isn't that bad with him. I kind of like the dichotomy that he introduces with how he switches up the flow a little bit in the beat, but the content remained consistent. So
that song
hit, some features are a miss. It's subjective. It's subjective.
Brandy's song could have done without Chance. Like it was, Chance did cool. It was a good song, but I mean, I would have loved the song either way without Chance. Brandy did her thing. I think Brandy's trying to curate a project, but she keeps dropping singles here and there, teasing people. So we'll see. But Brandy still sounds very vocally still powerful, and that's a credit to her. What else? Any new music that I missed?
Y'all hear Young Thug and Chris Brown?
Oh, that's
Chris Brown.
Yeah, Chris Brown and Young Thug.
Chris Brown and Young Thug dropped the CD, dropped the thing today.
Oh, today.
Y'all gotta hit that up. Yeah.
I'm gonna check that out.
Full project or just a track?
Full project.
It's a full project. Yeah.
Really? I listened
to a couple of tracks, so they're all right. Chris Brown has more of a influence on Young Thug, so you're not really listening to Young Thug music. You're listening to Chris Brown's music with Young Thug on the track. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
So it's not a collaboration really. To me, the way when I heard it, I felt it was more Chris Brown based versus Young Thug.
He had to make up for social distancing from Drake in the booth on that song.
So Cecil, you weren't quick to listen to this Chris Brown Young Thug situation, but you ran. Usain Bolt.
Okay, ran is a hard term.
Into that Savage remix by Beyonce. And
I heard it by default because people flew in our faces. And a lot of people haven't talked about Chris Brown and Young Thug on social media like that today. I haven't heard anything. So,
because you still listening to the Savage remix.
I am not.
You're still following the Beehive. That's why.
I am not.
You following the Beehive. You don't even see Chris Brown.
I have no such thing.
Wait, we don't do my boy dirty like this though.
I am waiting for Chris Brown to drop an actual, like a normal album, not like a 40-track album. So I think he's in the works right now. He's been teasing some stuff. He's been teasing, especially on Instagram. He's been teasing a lot of stuff, and so audio wise, and so we'll see what happens with that.
But y'all just gonna gloss over the Tory Lanez album, the New Toronto 3 album, his last album with the label.
Thank you.
Crazy. That's album. I love Tory, yo. I love Tory. I can't see no wrong with Tory, dog. I can't.
Tory's known for
quarantine. Oh my god.
Quarantine.
Tory Lanez is he's that guy right now. That album was really good.
Talking about someone capitalizing on opportunity. That guy has been thriving.
Yeah, he's thriving big time. He's thriving big time for sure. He's gearing up. I think he's going to drop some stuff with a lot of features too, because he's been hanging with Meg Thee Stallion a lot. He's been hanging with Jojo a lot.
Too. He's free.
So. This is true. So yeah, he's about to go crazy. And he's another one that I feel like he got songs in the database that go way back. Like I feel like his catalog is really deep right now. So he's just really just throwing stuff out, and he makes songs really fast. Him and Drake, honestly, from Canada, but both of them can whip out songs really fast, and I think that's really intriguing as an artist, from an artist perspective, to see how much they whip out projects and fast, and it's quality too. So we'll see.
I mean,
next week, go ahead.
For him, it was kind of easy though, because a lot of his stuff was more sampling nostalgic tunes that people were already vibing on and just adding his own track. Like before New Toronto 3, Shot Tape, I think, was it 5? With Aaliyah on the cover? That whole project was
that thing was smacking.
And last project I want to bring up is, did y'all listen to the Baby's album?
Okay, I got a bone to pick with that one. I don't understand why he dropped that project. Like, period. I don't know why. It was a good album. It was a good project. Why drop it after you had 2 good albums and you're still riding the success off that, but you just got out of some drama with females in court and stuff like that, and now we're in this quarantine and you drop an album and the album cover has you in a mask. It just... like, what's the point? And no marketing behind it, no publicity, nothing. You just dropped it, and it's like, okay, all right, I'll play it, but okay.
I think the Baby's like a clout chaser, so like, it no matter. Like, again, if he got opportunity, he chases it. So he's clout chasing, but he's not realizing it's ruining his career either. Like he's dropping stuff when he could have held on to that just for a little while longer.
All publicity is good publicity. You know, that's how the saying goes.
Do you think he's going to change up his flow?
Well, that's the problem we have with this album, is that he did change up his flow, and people are like, like...
He changed it up, but like it wasn't like a major switch up.
It wasn't
like he did like one verse
switch up, but it was significant enough for people to comment on it and be like, "Look, we wasn't feeling it." Some people were like, "Yo, we wasn't feeling this album," and others are like, "How?" He switched up on certain songs. I thought this is what everybody wanted. Now he switches up for you guys, and it's still not what you want. I think one of the intro song too, he himself says it like he's gonna switch up his flow, because that's what people keep criticizing. That's why I think he dropped the project when he did. It's like, yes, he was riding the success of his previous works and that were hits and whatnot that were,
but
no pun intended, that were bombs. But the common criticism was constantly like, yo, he has the same flow. It's constantly the same flow. We want something new. So here, quarantine, why not drop a project? See how people respond to it. It's been pretty mixed.
But my
The
thing
fact
is,
though that he
he
gotta
didn't.
tell us, like he gotta switch up his flow. Like
Yeah,
he
no,
shouldn't have to
he's
tell us.
he's
He
paying
should just
attention to
do
the
it.
lyrics.
Yeah, he's been saying it in almost all of his songs. Though. He always says about to switch up the flow on like half of his songs. So when's he gonna really switch it up? Because half
Do
of
it
his
then,
songs
nigga.
was the same thing. Yeah, just do it. Don't even tell us. Like now
He
he's
did it
giving us
once on his
anticipation for something that's better. Yeah, just a little bit though. It
He
still
did. He
sounds like the
switched up the
baby.
verse. He switched up the verse for like one verse.
Yeah,
You
Literally.
close your eyes and you can still hear the baby. You don't hear nothing else.
yeah, no,
We're about to switch up the flow. Okay, all right,
don't
the
worry about it.
baby.
Don't worry about
You
it.
bopping and all that, but we
Like, all
hear
right,
you, but you
all
still
right, here
sound the
he goes.
same.
Oh, that was it.
Like if it ain't broke, don't
That
fix it, dog. I'm fine with you sounding the same. Like, hey, give me more of Bob, give me more of that. Like, I'm fine with it. I'm not gonna complain. That if that's who you are, that's who you are. I'm not gonna be mad at it.
Is it me
Yeah.
though, or does it feel like people are given a little less grace in their critiques because we're sitting in quarantine? I feel like people are just hard. I don't think the criticism of the baby switch up as well would have been as harsh if we're sitting outside of quarantine. So
we
no,
are,
of course not. Everything's
because we want music. We have nothing to do. We want music. A lot of the bangers and stuff like that. You got to be outside for that. I gotta be in the atmosphere. I gotta be in an environment to listen.
Which is why people, going back to the Savage remix, which is why people were so upset, because people were like, "Yo, what am I supposed to do with this? I can't go outside and be on my hot girl summer stuff. Summer is canceled. I can't expect to. Like, what's going on?"
Right. I mean, French Montana got outside bangers, but no sit down bangers. And
speaking of French Montana,
and he thinks he can battle the world.
Speaking of French Montana, tweet by French Montana.
He's Moroccan, so I don't claim him.
We don't claim him.
Oh, when you talk about Jay-Z, when you talk about Jay-Z,
let me recap this.
I'll go back, LJ. He talking about.
And I quote. He says Jay-Z and Drake probably got it. They probably got him in a hits battle. Probably.
I might lose. I might lose.
You know, I might end up losing.
I might lose.
It might be close.
I might lose at the finish line. Let's stop.
It might be close. You know what I'm saying? But for me, I think they might beat me by this much, but not that much.
It might be a photo finish.
Right. You know, I might Photoshop the finish.
Probably.
Yeah, French Montana came out. For those who don't know, who will be watching this, came out first. He went at Kendrick and said, "Hey, I can go with you 20 for 20," and people was like, "Whoa, there, hold on, what are you doing? What's going on?" And he backed it up. He was still trying to back it up. He was like, "What are you talking about?" Like, I mean it. Like, I can go 20 for 20 with Kendrick. And somebody made a good point this past week, and they said French Montana may go toe-to-toe with some people when it comes to club bangers or outside tracks, if you will. But when it comes to just pure music, he is in no competition with anybody. Like, he is at the bottom of the total ball. So if you want to say, look, club bangers, 20 for 20, let's go. Okay, sure. Maybe by this much. You know, you probably will still lose. Probably. But just by a little bit, you still lose. But when it comes to music, you're going to get demolished, bro. Like, come on, man.
I'm saying this, and I'm
my own biggest fan had a face. That's what it would look like. Like French Montana. I'm my own biggest fan.
I'm gonna be real though. I was listening to the Casino mixtape because they was. I love the snippets he got from Goodfellas, from the movie Goodfellas, from Casino and whatnot. I enjoyed his project back in the day. That being said, I know he doesn't stand a chance. And did y'all see how Young Thug came at him? Yeah, Young Thug went to war. Young Thug was not hearing none of this stuff. Kendrick, boy? Oh, hell no. Yeah. Hell no. Yeah. Like, why would I wear it? I was like, yo, it was going back and forth. And I was like, ooh, something.
Yeah. Well, they have history. There's a little bit of beef there, too. Yeah. So, with a female lady involved. And French, of course, was barking up the wrong tree. So Young Thug was like, "Yo, I will pop you. Like, don't get it twisted." You know what I'm saying? So there's a little bit of history, but we're over an hour. We got a lot more to discuss next time, gentlemen and ladies. For the late to the part, late to she's switching up her name. She's here, but she's able to close out with us. So I definitely appreciate her. Until next time, we got, of course, The Last Dance, the next 2 episodes. new music coming out. Of course, Kaylani is dropping her project. We'll review that. We got some other stuff, of course, happening in politics as usual. And then we gotta, of course, talk about Instagram. It's populated and all that great stuff. So hopefully you'll stick with us. Thank you guys for listening or watching. And for those who are watching or listening to the replay, we salute you both. Head to our Instagram, thecraft.factory, or you can
He's for president of the Beehive.
Follow us on Instagram, craft.factory. Subscribe to us on YouTube, The Craft Factory.
Toxic.
Catch us there on both platforms. We're signing out.
We see that Beyonce poster in the background.
Toxic. Track one.
Corty.